Hi, folks. James here, and welcome to the Spiro Circle. You may notice a bit of a difference today in my camera quality and my background. I'm currently moving house, and so my internet connection has been a bit fuzzy, but rest assured, in the coming days, I'm sure it will go back to normal. This week in Israel is Tu B'Av, kind of like the Israel Valentine's Day. I wanted to discuss Jewish identity, love, dating, and I thought of no better guest than Aleeza Ben Shalom, host of Jewish Matchmaking on Netflix. We spoke about what it means to date today post October 7, what it means to bounce between Israel and the diaspora, how her traditional matchmaking skills can conflict with or add to the AI algorithms on modern dating sites. It was a really interesting conversation that dived into many, many different aspects of Judaism, technology, love, dating, and a bunch of other things. I really hope you enjoy. Aleeza, thank you so much for taking the time today to speak on the Spiro Circle.
Thank you for having me.
I wanted to better understand your journey, please, because you went from somewhat of a traditional matchmaker to kind of the face of Jewish dating on Netflix, which is a big jump. Talk me through briefly how you got there.
So I started out as a matchmaker online, and I was doing what a lot of matchmakers are doing now. I'm interconnected with over 500 matchmakers, and we just like you click, click, click to make matches, but it's more than that. You coach, you talk to people, you work with them, and I just fell in love with the whole process. And I was like, oh, it's not just clicking, it's not just matching. You have to coach them. It's the head, it's the heart. And I started coaching singles, and then I was like, oh, I love this. And then the singles are like, oh, could you help more matchmakers? They need some, I like your advice. I teach them your ways. And I was like, I don't know if they want my advice. They said, yeah, they do. I told them they're going to call you. And then I started training matchmakers and coaches. And so I gradually grew into this position because I just fell in love with the entire process.
Amazing. I'd like to dive a bit deeper, please, into what it means to date Jewishly, if that makes sense, compared to any other form of dating, I guess. What does it mean in terms of not only the religion, but in terms of peoplehood and nation and background? And what does it mean to you?
To me, Jewish dating, first of all, the first and only thing you need as a criteria is another Jewish person. That's baseline. How secular they are, how religious they are, where they live in the world, all of that is, quote, irrelevant. It just needs to be relevant to you. The baseline for us to be compatible is to start with, hey, you're Jewish, I'm Jewish. Okay, now let's find out what else we have in common. And I think that it's really important for us to dig into, well, what does Judaism mean? What are my values? Where am I within Judaism? There's an enormous spectrum from just Jewish, I was born Jewish, don't know much about it, don't do much about it, to wow, right? I'm not Jewish enough to even match them because they have their own systems for matching, or some people even, have arranged marriages, which is on the other end of the spectrum. So the baseline of what you need for Jewish matchmaking and the base difference is that you're choosing to date only somebody Jewish. And then from there, we are digging into our values, our Jewish values, and then also our life values and what we want in the world.
Well, of course, because it's not so easy just to date Jewish, because first of all, you have to find someone who's Jewish, but also within Judaism, there are so many different types of backgrounds and traditions and value systems, such as Ashkenazi versus Sephardi is the kind of obvious one. How do Jewish people who are dating balance those differences?
I think a lot of people are starting to date themselves, kind of look inward and go, how Jewish do I want to be? What kind of a Jewish person do I want to be? And how much do I want to go to the right or to the left or somewhere in the middle? And to figure out what is a baseline. So for some people, they say, I love Shabbat. I'm going to keep Shabbat. I'm going to keep kosher, SS, Shomer Shabbos, SK, Shomer Kashrut, those two things. That's one thing to put me into a little bit of a Jewish box where other people say, well, I love Shabbat, but I might not do it every week. But I love to go to a Shabbat dinner, and that's something that's really important to me. I want to send my kids to Hebrew school or to a Jewish camp, or I want them to have Jewish youth group involvement. I want them to connect to other Jewish people. So I think the first thing that we need to do is to look inward and say, what do I like? What speaks to me? What about my Judaism do I connect to? And then look for somebody who's like-minded.
It's so funny because about 10 or 12 years ago, I found a girlfriend on Tinder. And back then it was very taboo. You know, you almost didn't tell people that you met through an app because it was a bit like, oh, you didn't meet in real life. That's a bit strange.
Right.
Now I can proudly say 10 years later, I met my now wife at a Shabbat lunch. And the reason why we met was because it was the dead of summer in Israel, and we were both like kvetching for the seat that was right below the air conditioning. And that's how we got there. So we ran, and I think my right elbow went into her left elbow, and I went, oh, hi, and that's how we got to meeting. So now I can boast that I have a very untraditional way of meeting my wife in a world where everyone is meeting through dating apps. So tell me, from where you are standing as a more traditional matchmaker, how do your techniques and how does your process differ or compete with the AI algorithms or the apps or any of the other ways that other people are or anyone is dating today?
So I like to joke that AI actually stands for Aleeza's intelligence, and that really it's all about all about my dating and how I believe the process should go. But I think that first of all, the main difference is that I'm connecting with hearts, and I don't think that AI does the heart very well. I think it does the brain extremely well, but in terms of really getting inside of somebody and understanding them, it's hard to do that and then to be able to bring that into the world and make something really happen. So for me, I like to give people different mantras. I like to give them guidelines or rules, things like date them till you hate them, or another way of saying that is when in doubt, go out, or if it's not a no, it's a go. There's a lot of Aleeza rhymes and things that I like language that's sticky so that people can figure out how to more gracefully move through dating. Like if you're playing a game and you don't know the rules, so you can do anything. It's not a game. It doesn't you can't get through it, right? But if we play the game and we both know where to start and where to end and what the rules are to get there, that's what makes it exciting. That's what makes it interesting. That's what gives us the motivation to get through it. But when you're playing dating and you're like, I don't know how to play this game. I don't know what to do. I'll do anything and see if it works. You're throwing spaghetti at the wall. You want to see if it sticks? Well, it's not going to stick, or it'll be dumb luck why it happened. So I like to give people guidelines, and I think that's probably the biggest difference. And I source all of that from Jewish wisdom, but I like to put it in plain language so it's accessible to anybody.
Okay, so I suppose in some ways you're collecting your own form of data because of all the experience that you're seeing through all of your couples that you help connect. So how much do you rely, I'm going to take this a bit techie, if I may, but how often, if ever, do you rely on data or psychology-driven tools to help connect potential spouses, or do you go just by instinct? Tell me a bit about your instinctive process.
So I am both data driven and instinct driven, but many matchmakers and a lot of people that I have trained said I don't have an instinct for it, and therefore I need you to teach me a process. I'm fairly well balanced in that if I have an instinct, I will still check it in with my brain and with the data and with the structure of how I think things should work. And if there's a structure for how things work, but it just doesn't feel right and it feels off, I can't go with it just because I know that it's the right thing to do. If it doesn't feel right, then I still have to trust that instinct. So I think I'm more unusual because I'm very balanced in both. But in terms of data, I love data. I love patterns. I love following and seeing like, oh, okay, I've seen this happen about 25 times. I think this is a thing. Okay, let me run it by another 25 people. Let me kind of prove that what I believe is true is actually true and that it works for the majority of people. That might date them till you hate them or whatever. When in doubt, go out advice. Some people don't like it. They think it's terrible advice. And for people that have a really, nasty streak in them, or they're not great humans, right? You could really hurt somebody by just going along and following a thing. Well, Aleeza said, so I just tried it. I mean, my heart wasn't in it. I didn't care, whatever, right? That's not the goal of the process. You have to actually be involved. And in short, I like to use data, and I think that finding the patterns are really helpful, and it can advance people through the process much, much more easily and quickly.
We're talking a lot about because we both share a love of data, and we've both, well, I've certainly had experience with the AI algorithms, and we've seen how there is a form of intentionality and a form of intelligence and carefulness to how you approach it. But in 2025, the world is anything but those things. The world's complete chaos, and dating has not been as it's ever been. It's completely different to how it's ever been before in the past. How do you reckon with a 2025 that is just so different than even 5 years ago, or 10 years ago, or 20 years ago? Um, how do you approach that?
I think we need to use what we have, and I think Judaism approaches life this way. We're not about, like we're Jewish, we're not Amish, right? So we don't only do things the way that they used to be. We adapt with life and we bring our tradition and our culture along with it. So I think in the same way, we need to do that with dating. So we have AI. You should use it. It's really good. It's very intuitive. It is uber smart and faster than we can think and function, and you should use it. And at the same time, if you use it but you never get yourself out on an actual date, then you're not using it properly, because it should go from technology on the computer online to in person. If it can help you get in person, I'm a fan of it. If it just keeps it online in a loop and in a cycle, then I'm not interested at all.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to take it a bit bigger, if I may, and kind of zoom out a bit to jewelry as a whole, especially in a post-October 7 world. What has something like that and the repercussions of all of that for the last almost 2 years, what impact has had on Jewish people and Jewish dating globally? I mean, that's a big question, but maybe the US versus Israel versus other places in the diaspora. What are you noticing about very recent Jewish history?
October 7th was a massive alarm clock to the entire world and to the Jewish people, but specifically within dating, people had this aha moment of, I'm only going to date Jewish, because that wasn't a given. Some people were flexible, like whoever I meet, I prefer Jewish, but I'm open to anybody. Many people have said to me, okay, I'm only dating Jewish, and now I don't know what I'm doing because that wasn't my plan before this, but I don't think anybody other than a Jew will understand me. And people have woken up to, now is the moment to find my person. I'm not going to wait. It's not going to be in 2 years from now. It's not going to be in 5 years from now. My work isn't more important. I need to meet somebody now. The whole world, like you said, feels very chaotic. And in order to live in it in a healthy way, I need to have that, my life, my environment, my family be something that is stabilized for me. So I want to find my person, and I want to build my family, and I want to at least have the comfort of what exists within a home to be there for me, to ground me, to get through the world that we are living in. So I see October 7th as a massive wake-up call. And it's not that I see it, it's that a lot of people reached out after October 7th. I think between COVID, lockdown, oh my gosh, the world is ending and I'm gonna have to live with my parents and take care of them, to, oh my gosh, the world is ending October 7th. It's like people are just ready. They're very ready to meet somebody right now.
Yeah, th this half decade has been quite the century for young people. Um, if I could expand on that a bit further and take it to the relationship between Israel and the diaspora. So, are you noticing any changes there? I mean, I've spoken to people in the past who have moved to Israel to follow the love of their life, who they met traveling, or some people are returning home to the United States or to Europe after meeting their soulmate in Israel. What are you noticing between the relationship, the connection to, or the divide from Israel in the diaspora?
I think Israel and the diaspora are becoming closer. And even if you are not moving here, you are thinking about visiting, you're thinking about supporting, and and it's like Israel's at the center and world Jewry is around it, supporting it. And it's almost like instead of Israel has always been, a light unto the nations and the Jewish people, and we're spreading light out. But I feel now that there's been a lot of light and a lot of support filtering inward towards Israel and towards the Jewish people in Israel. We've seen a lot of people saying, I want to make Aliyah, I want to come here. Can you help me find a soulmate here? And I think that everybody's kind of coming to Israel's aid, whereas I felt like Israel was like the stronghold for the Jewish people, and we were always doing the outreach to support the world. I think that the Jewish world is now supporting Israel.
Hmm. It's certainly interesting from my perspective because I've obviously been seeing all of this as someone who hasn't been dating for a few years and who's been living in Israel. So to see the world out and then to see how the world looks in, it's just been a mind-boggling experience to try and reckon with all of the things that you see, whether good, bad, romantic, cynical. It's been a lot for I think everyone to process. I want to talk a bit about speaking. I want to keep on that topic, and I want to speak about I want to hear about your collaboration with Voice of the People, and some of the work that you're doing with those folks. So talk me through a bit about the project there and what you hope to achieve, please. And for those who may not know, Voice of the People, it's kind of an organization. It seeks to embrace Jewish relations and missions, but maybe you could explain it better than I could.
Yeah. So President Herzog has this mission to support the Jewish people and create the greatest change that we need to see, and brought together 150 people from around the globe. So we have 50 from Israel and 50 from the States and another 50 from the rest of the world. And we have a 2-year cohort that is together through this, and we were broken out into different groups. My group is actually Israel and world Jewry and that relationship. Some people are working on, the politics, the the Jewish non-Jewish relationships, polarization. There's many different groups, and what we're trying to do is to come first of all to identify what is the problem that the Jewish world is suffering with. And secondly, how are we going to fix it, right? We had a problem after the Holocaust and the, Jews, where do we go and what do we do? And we need a place to go, right? And Herzl has an idea. We need our own home. We need it now. It can't wait any longer, right? That's how we end up with our homeland. So same way that we are looking at the world and going, there's things going on in this world. The Jewish people, not just, we have a homeland now. What else can we do to secure our Jewish future? How else can we build the strongest Jewish future possible? What's the problem? What's the solution? You've got 2 years. Good luck, figure it out. And so we're working on doing that.
And so, how far into the 2-year schedule are you, and what has the response been like so far?
We started in March of this year. So we're 5 months in, and we met in person in Haifa. We had a massive conference, and now we've been working online. I think so far there's two things. One is it's been incredible to meet a whole bunch of change makers and people that are deeply passionate about changing the world. And it's incredibly difficult to wrestle with what is the problem, to agree exactly on what is the problem, and then to come to, and this is the solution that I think is going to make a dramatic shift in the world. And so, what I've been finding is that it's this inner struggle. It's kind of what we're all going through independently, but we're doing this together as a massive group now, and it's difficult. It's actually really it's hard work. It's not like, oh, this is fun. This is so easy. It's no big deal. It's wonderful. It's wonderful to be with motivated people who have ideas, but to grapple with the deepest issues of the Jewish people and to say, I want to figure out a solution for how to overcome the challenges that we're facing, it's very heavy.
There are so many aspects of that as well. I mean, there's the Israel and Jewry, and there's anti-Semitism, and then there's Jewish relations, and there's Israel. I'm very tech orientated in my work and kind of the world that I'm exposed to. So it's seeing how Israel can export its technology and innovation to different pockets of the world. So there's a lot of work to be done in not only exporting that, but also having an audience receptive to it. So it's a two-way street, and it seems to be ongoing, and the challenges are certainly ahead of you. And best of luck for the whole team for all of the challenges that you have going on there, because it seems like a great initiative. Um, we're running out of
Thank
time, so I do want to end on somewhat of a kind of fire round. I do want to ask a few questions, and I want kind of a simple one sentence answer to all of them. So, number one, biggest dating red flag.
you. Biggest dating red flag is somebody who's not a mensch, right? No pleases, no thank yous, no gratitude holding doors, just ugh.
One piece of advice that every Jewish mother needs to hear.
Back off. It's not even a full sentence. Just back off. There's a way to support, but not by nudging your child. Just network, but don't nudge the child.
Does that advice differ from a Jewish mother of a son or a daughter, or is that just blanket advice?
That's a good question. Um, it may differ. It really just depends on the human. If somebody does need a little loving nudge, you can, gently nudge them, but not consistently. Like if you want to nudge somebody, nudge the rest of the world and say, I have a great son or daughter. Here's what's wonderful about them. Do you know anybody, or do you know somebody who knows somebody for them? I'd rather them be a fly and a buzz in somebody else's ear than their own child's ear.
What's the first question someone should ask on a date?
Oh, you're asking really hard questions.
These are quick fire rounds. Quick
And you
fire.
did not prepare me for this. Okay, the first question, I don't, it doesn't matter what you ask. The first thing, whatever you ask, make sure you have a smile on your face, because it's not the words that come out of your mouth that matter as much as what your face looks like when you look at them. Whatever you ask, if you ask them and then you like crinkle your nose and your eyebrows and you make a funny face as you're saying it, it doesn't go over well. So it doesn't matter what you ask. Just make sure you're smiling when you say it.
Where's the best place to find love? Tel Aviv or New York?
Tel Aviv.
Tel Aviv. I know from
Unless you're
experience.
unless you're a die-hard New Yorker and you want to live there the rest of your life, stay in New York. But other than that, everybody else should come to Tel Aviv.
Yeah, definitely speaking from experience on that one. Um, Final question. What one trait do you think is underrated in a partner?
Oh, like the good guy or the good girl. Nobody wants to marry them. They're too good. It's just they're too nice. They're too this. You don't get sick of too good, too nice, too wonderful in marriage, only in dating. It only irritates you in dating and marriage. You're like, oh, they're so wonderful. How could I be upset?
Yeah, I always used to get the advice, you don't marry crazy. Have fun with crazy, but you don't marry crazy. Um,
Exactly.
Aleeza Ben Shalom, thank you so, so much for your time today and your wisdom all about love and matchmaking and Judaism around the world. It sounds like you have a lot of projects up your sleeve. Tell me, for the folks listening and watching, what's the best place for people to find you and follow you?
You can follow me on Instagram or any social media at Aleeza Ben Shalom.
Wonderful. Thank you so, so much for your time today, and it's been a real pleasure.
Thank you for having me.